Kim Stewart here with Brian Clausen at the BCI shop that's literally bustling with activity. It's been a little while since we talked, but season's off to a pretty good start as your first as a driver and car owner. And I guess the first thing we need to talk about is the trip to East Bay.
Yeah, this year's gotten off to a busy start anyways, and it started off really well at East Bay with a second place finish the first night, and kind of got ourselves in a hole early the second night and dug out of that and ran 6th or 7th. So it was a good start to the year and got us off on the right foot with Scott Bennick and everybody at the RWB Motorsports team.
That first night when you finished second, was that a night that you kind of went in and you had a feeling good things were going to happen all through the night?
Well, it was. We started off fast, so that was obviously good, and there wasn't really a lot of work there. We just kind of rolled out and we were good, and just everything kind of kept carrying over, and we kind of got a little bit behind ourselves there in the feature, and still battled through it and ran second. So it was definitely a good start to the relationship and the weekend.
Well, I know that was something that you were looking forward to. We talked about it just when you came back from the Chili Bowl. How is it working with Scott Bennick and his crew?
It's really exciting. You know, Scott's one of the major players in our sport, and to get the opportunity to work with him has been a lot of fun. And you know, we're still kind of learning each other and sorting through some stuff, but we've had a lot of fun so far, and we're looking forward to a really busy year.
I imagine one of the interesting things that has to take place there is getting used to a different type of communication, or communicating with people that are different from the team that you've had for several years.
Yeah, it's a lot different. You know, we go from you know, working with my dad, who I've worked with for my whole life, and you know, there's whenever you move on to somebody new, there's definitely a learning period of how you need to communicate things and how what you say comes across to them, and you know, kind of working on that a little bit. So there's definitely always a little bit of an adjustment, but you know, we've been kind of working through that and learning each other better and better each race, and hopefully we'll continue to get better next weekend.
Sounds like things are actually rolling along pretty well, but you mentioned that second night at East Bay, you kind of got into a hole early. What happened there?
You know, we just struggled a little bit qualifying. Qualified 14th or 15th, and kind of buried ourselves a little bit for the start of the feature. And you know, there's going to be those kinds of nights early in this deal as we're trying to learn each other, and you know, we kind of buried ourselves, but we were able to dig out of it in a you know, reasonable fashion, and not put ourselves in too bad a shape for the rest of the year. So it was a big night for us, you know, being able to dig out of that hole and come from the back and run up towards the front.
The last time we talked an awful lot about goals, but I imagine when it comes down to it, any given race night, you just kind of have to take that night for what it is and not necessarily be thinking too far ahead about what this might mean in the points if you go out and have a bad qualifying run, say in 14.
Yeah, it's really early to think about that, but you know, it's always in the back of your mind, and it's all about not burying yourselves. You worry about it later, but you just don't want to make too many mistakes, especially early in the year, and get yourself in too big of a hole. You know, really, it comes down to being close around sprint week time, and then after that, it's everybody's fair game. So, you know, it's definitely something you think about a little bit, and you attack each night a little bit differently. But bottom line is, at the end of the night, you want to be on the front straightaway, holding the flag.
I know that you're always focused there on getting to the front and holding that flag, but how do you approach a night differently if you go out, you have a really good hot lap session, maybe come in, you know you've got a good qualifying run, versus one where you know you've got a lot more work to do after qualifying and sort of you're going to be starting mid-pack in that feature?
You know, definitely it kind of changes your take on the race and how you attack it, and you know, if you're starting up towards the front, you can be a little bit more patient, kind of pick and choose your moves, and you know, when you start in 14th, 15th, 16th, back in there, you're definitely have to be a little bit more aggressive and kind of go on the fly and you know, get yourself into a position early in the race where you still got a shot, and then you can kind of settle down and get into the flow of the race. But you know, it definitely changes no matter where you start, so it's a little bit of a challenge, but we were able to sort through it good at the beginning part of this year, and hopefully we won't have to do it anymore, but I'm sure it's a long year and we'll see some more of that.
Now, the flip side of East Bay was not only were you a driver, but you were a car owner on that night as well. Now, when it comes to the actual night of racing, do you have to let the car owner thing go a little bit?
Oh yeah, you know, we've got a great group of guys here that you know, kind of handle it with Big Al and AJ, and they really handled it well, and had Caleb running up front, so it was tough to see the 7 car outrunning me at some point too. It was a little bit different, but it's a lot of fun, and he had a great start to his year down there as well. Running up towards the front both nights and really being competitive. So that was pretty cool too.
So when you see your car on the racetrack, is it one of those things where you go, hey, that's my car, hey, that's my car?
It's kind of like, hey, what's he doing? And he's supposed to be behind me. But no, it's pretty cool to be a part of everything we've built here, and to see it kind of playing out in a successful manner is really cool, and I couldn't be happier for everybody that's been a part of it and is a part of it still. So to see that thing run up towards the front, even without me in it, is pretty cool.
Well, congratulations on getting off to a great start in the year, and that's going to wrap up our East Bay recap.